big boy story of the day today is one that we don't know a ton about. We're a little, well, we just have to wait for more details to come out. But in case you missed it yesterday, Alvin Kamara was arrested in Las Vegas. He was arrested on battery charge on Sunday in Vegas after being accused of injuring someone at a nightclub on the eve of the Pro Bowl. So I guess how this works, something went down Saturday night at a nightclub. Police said they were dispatched around 5:50 local time Saturday to a hospital. I guess Kamara was identified. He was taken into custody without incident, and he was booked and spent Sunday night in jail. So the charge is, quote, charge of battery resulting in substantial bodily harm. I hate headlines without context like this, Jake, because there's just, I don't, it's a lot of times it is unfair to the person in the headlines.
Yep.
As when you read that, it doesn't feel great for Alvin Kamara. I think that said, I don't think I'm alone in this. Alvin Kamara is one of the chillest players in the entire NFL. I mean, this man used to walk home from games down Bourbon Street after the game, just out among the people, right? He seems to be one of the most relaxed guys out there. And so, I don't know, man. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt here. Somebody decided to maybe act out a little bit. I mean, look, okay, I guess I don't know what I don't know. But all I'm saying is I hate when we have to come in here and we have to talk about a headline with, no context behind it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because, when you read this, you're like, oh, no, Alvin Kamara gets arrested, but we don't have, any details into it. And then, obviously, right, wrong, or indifferent, with us knowing who this person is and how he's been in the community and how he acts and just personality-wise, how he is, obviously, it's hard for us to make an assessment, obviously way different than somebody else would. The timing of it, 5:50 p.m., you typically don't see something like that. And, obviously he's playing a football game and all of a sudden now he's being taken into custody. So, obviously, more's got to come out from this story. Las Vegas, I mean, that part of it's undefeated, but everybody knows that the NFL is in Las Vegas. So there's a lot of different factors that can kind of come into this.
Yeah, I guess what happened in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas in this case. The Ford, who is a Lord Ford in the chat, says it sounds a lot like a headline. Yeah, I mean, okay, I guess technically this is a headline. Right?
So that's kind of the point, though.
But you get the point.
Because, and I will take full ownership of this. Sometimes in headline, there'd be a story that I would try to maybe, go a little bit longer on, but you can't.
Yeah.
In headline, and it's a big story, so.
Well, and look, let's just all keep our prejudgments a little close to the vest about what happened in this AK situation, right? Because, again, we don't know, and at least for me personally, right, I feel like Alvin Kamara has earned the benefit of the doubt. This is someone, like Jake said, excellent member of the community, super chill, never been involved in anything bad, Normally, the extent of the Alvin Kamara controversy of the offseason is he snowboarding too much? Yeah, should right. he be on the mountain? Right? So I'm not going too hard on this one. I would not be surprised at all if he is exonerated over time.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I have seen whenever there's been an event, been a Super Bowl, been a draft, or been not a Senior Bowl, but events where the whole city knows that there's going to be stars in the city. Sometimes you'll have that one guy. It's I'm going to go provoke this whole crowd of NFL players. So more details have to come out. But just because this is so not his personality, there's a couple of guys that it could be any team, you could point to. And it's okay, if it was that guy, it's okay, well, we've seen something like that before. We've never seen really anything like that before. So the context and when it comes out will be very interesting.
Yeah, fair or not, if Pac-Man's name was on this, you'd be okay, yeah, that makes sense. We've heard tons of crazy stories about Pac-Man getting into it, but not AK. So we'll see. I hopefully this doesn't result in any NFL discipline, though. With the NFL and the New Orleans Saints, you never know. I didn't put so this just come back top of mind, and I haven't read enough about it probably to talk about it publicly. But did you see Mike Triplett's tweets from, I believe it was last week, maybe the beginning of February, where the New Orleans Saints, for the third year in a row, have had the least amount of no calls against them? like their opponents just don't get flagged 32nd in the league 3 years in a row. I am hyper non-conspiratorial, right? I'm a huge skeptic when it comes to all of that. I think a lot of times when you talk to people who like conspiracy theories, everything kind of boils down to like everything being a part of some grand design, right? That somebody's in control of. To me, that's actually much less terrifying than the reality, which is like, no, our world is just controlled by slappies, just like normal humans like me and you, and just like the chaos that ensues from it. So I am like super, super skeptical of anything like this. But that is, we'll go into it more a bit later. But I did find that to be pretty shocking, man.
No, like I'll take all that and I'll say there is something going on. I mean, 32nd 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, it ain't happened. I want to say we'll get to the triplet tweet to confirm all this next segment. But yeah, it hadn't happened. I want to say in like 30 years, something along those lines. It's been a long time, and it all coincides with right after the no call and the ensuing drama, and Peyton getting the PI rule passed, which the referees were very blatant. Now that was like, I feel like that was blatant and proven. The refs are just like, nah, we're not overturning any PI calls this year. We hate this rule, and we're taking it out on you. So, knowing the NFL, they will probably suspend Alvin Kamara, but we'll see over time.
Knowing the yeah.
The crazy thing about the Saints is that they had actually just gotten out of an 8-hour interview with Eric Bieniemy when this news broke. And what's kind of interesting about that 8 hours is Kat Terrell has a tweet where they were just talking to Mickey Loomis at the Senior Bowl, and she was asking a question about, some teams are having like these 9-hour interviews, and Loomis kind of laughed at it and was like, "Man, that's crazy. Like we max out at 6, like hands down." But then they go 8.
Yeah.
With Bieniemy. Am I okay? Reading too much into what is very much a tea leaf. Is that a positive or a negative? Do you think?
I think it's positive.
Okay.
If you're Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Because that tells you did something in that interview that impressed them, and they wanted to dig a little bit more into that. You said something that they said, okay, well, I want to find out more. I want to explore that. You have a plan, say it was a plan for the quarterback or whatever it might be. Like, let's explore that a little bit. Because if not, then you don't keep him. You don't waste your time. You don't waste his time. You're professionals. You don't do that. And especially since they just told Kat, like, we got to cap it at 6. And then the next one that they have, they go up to 8. So I was thinking about this as I was driving in, because obviously I knew it was going to be one of the first things we talked about. Right now you have defensive pieces, and hiring Dennis Allen would make a lot of sense. You'd keep a lot of those people happy. You'd be able to have this elite defense, and what can you do on offense?
Yeah.
But you could also have the thought process, man, we're bad on offense. We need somebody innovative. We need somebody that can put players in a place to succeed, maybe get the most out of a quarterback. Do we want to lose Dennis Allen? No, we don't. But our offense right now and where it's at, we might not have a choice to hire Dennis Allen. We might have to go offense. We might have to say, hey, we're going to elevate somebody to the defensive coordinator position, right, that knows this defense, that the players would still be happy about, because DA's probably not going to stay if you don't make him the head coach, right?
I would think so. Or to be fair, that's one.
Although these positions are filling up, and he's still.
And I was going to say that's kind of one of the core issues in all of this is what's working against guys like Bieniemy is a new head coach comes in, and then all of a sudden you could potentially have a ton of staff turnover, right? Because you want to have him have some like hiring autonomy, right? You don't want to just tell him that you have to take every single guy that we have here already. That kind of feels like a potential recipe for disaster. And then if you did hire outside of Bieniemy, would DA be gone? Because there's not really any jobs available.
There's not really been. I know he interviewed and then he kind of denied another interview, but there's not any team left that's trying to get Dennis Allen right now to be their head coach. So just imagine if he did stay and you get Bieniemy to be your head coach. I mean, you've got to feel like that's a win-win if you're a Saint. And I think still, though, like it's really starting to make sense about the offensive piece of this.
Yep.
Because you're going to be pretty light on that side of the football. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not even talking about the Alvin Kamara. Like Kamara in that situation getting arrested, like that's something we can get to whenever the details of that come out. But even if you have him for a full season, you've got an offensive line. We don't know quarterback. We certainly don't know what Mike Thomas's future looks like. We don't know who the second, third receivers are. I mean, there's some guys we could project, like, Callaway had a really nice year. He could be a really, really solid 3.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the 1 and 2? Who's your tight end? Is Adam Troutman going to be the tight end? Right? Okay, that face you just made kind of tells me what you think about that. So
it's just very unexciting. But
defensively, on all 3 levels, you've got dudes.
So can you expect, and let's be clear, if Eric Bieniemy was hired, I think that would actually probably be the biggest fan win from an excitement standpoint. Like, people would be hyped up. But you'd be putting Bieniemy in a pretty interesting situation with how you just laid it out, Jake, right? Because people would be expecting the same sort of, stellar offensive results that he's been posting up in Kansas City, but he would be leaving an offense with Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Edwards-Helaire, leaving that offense, coming to the wasteland that is the current New Orleans Saints offensive roster that you just laid out, and then trying to have that same level of success. Maybe wasteland's a bit aggressive because you'll still have AK and Mike Thomas. Like, I do think that this fall, but obviously, the elephant in the room is the missing quarterback. But yeah, that would just be, there'd be a ton of expectation heaped onto Bieniemy's plate right away. But again, if you're an NFL head coach, I don't know how much that really factors into anything, right? Because your belief in yourself is such, you're like, yeah, I can produce the positive results needed to make the fan base happy and get the team where it needs to be.
I thought it was going to be Dennis Allen. I thought it was going to be him at the Senior Bowl. That's kind of what you heard. We all know T had his ear to the ground. You like the gossip. You like the rumors there for the Senior Bowl. And everybody we talked to, even if it was with another team, said, "Oh, it's going to be Dennis Allen. It's going to be Dennis Allen."
Yeah.
But this is the first time I think that might not be 100%.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get some of the other coaching jobs a bit later as some more slots have been filled. Only a couple left. There's a new leader in the clubhouse potentially in Houston. We'll get to all of this and more. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little LSU basketball as, it's dark times right now in the PMAC, at least on that part of the PMAC. We'll break down next here on Off the Bench.